Undyne, she's surprisingly not even number 2 ASGORE for some reason.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
On this Deltarune survey, over 2,000 people rated what they thought about over 300 Deltarune theories. My co-host and I have ratings along with text responses and old theories just to look back on. Which theories were liked? Why were some theories even made? What did they think about?
After the first 2 chapters, with exploring the unused classroom and the library and the dark world there, people ended up with new ideas for like what other places we would end up exploring and like themes for those dark worlds. And those are the theories we're gonna talk about today. And other general content we would get, like the amount of chapters and such. I tried to include as many locations in the hometown as I could here, so there are gonna be some less talked about locations. And later we're gonna look at like charts and see which dark world location was the one people wanted the most for each chapter. And I don't know if anyone else has something like that, so that's gonna be fun to look at. I spent hours making that, but yeah, that's about it for the introduction. So the first one, the Flowershop, will be an upcoming dark world location, and this is a pretty good one. It's a good one to start on. It hasn't happened yet, but this one has become way more likely, and as we can see, kind of overall positive.
Yes. Yeah, this was pretty much the most popular prediction for chapter 5, even back in the chapter 2 days. It seems like it's going to be right, like not 100%, but like it's kind of at a point where the teasers for this are so directed in your face that if it doesn't happen, it'll be kind of shocking at this point.
Yeah, like ASGORE and the Prophecy and
like
that
Gerson.
seems. And with like ASGORE just straight up being in the Prophecy, I mean, people drew the idea that, oh, we're gonna have like the Flowershop. But then we got like other theories like ASGORE making the Dark Fountain, even though we don't even know if he even knows how to do that. Does he?
Yeah, I think it's like, well, he knows about the Night Conspiracy, so it's not impossible that he knows how to. It's not like impossible that he will make the fact. I will say at least I think it's more likely that he'll make it than the Knight will. But my personal pick is Chris.
It's just Chris
will make the chapter 5 fountain. But we'll see.
Chris.
We'll see.
I think the Knight is more likely because ASGORE is not considered very wonderful by Gaster on the Lightner Gunner Maker list.
My list for who's making the chapter 5 fountain, specifically in Flower King: Chris at number 1, ASGORE at number 2, and then Knight at number 3. That's my personal prediction list.
Yeah, another thing that just kind of made this always just be a theory that everyone liked was like the flowers, you know, the human souls.
Yeah, the 7 human souls. Yeah, it was mainly the flowers and then the boarded up door right behind them.
The 2 doors.
That caused a lot of suspicion regarding the area. And also the fact that, like, hey, it's ASGORE and it's connected to Chris and stuff directly. Yeah. That also definitely helped it. It is funny to think about how people would often theorize about this and then also combine it with, like, chess theory and stuff. And, like, be like, oh, yeah, we're going to fight the Knight in chapter 5 and that's going to be in Flower King. And I just have to... Regarding, like, the other random Knight candidates, it's just, like...
Yeah.
What was... I have to wonder what the thought process behind all that was. Because, like, nobody really believed in ASGORE Knight and stuff.
No.
So, yeah.
Looking at, like, text responses, there was some criticism towards this theory. Like, there would be, like, 2 chapters for the Dreamer family. Like, ASGORE could just show up in chapter 3. And some said that this wouldn't fit the escapism theme. But it only seems like the escapism was mostly just tied to chapters 1, 2, 3, because 4 seems to be going away from that. And then
I mean, when it comes to like the entertainment and like fiction stuff theme, right?
Yeah.
First 3 chapters are all kind of very entertainment themed, and then chapter 4, it still has that literature and music theming in there, but all that stuff is tied directly into the prophecy stuff, which is tied into the religion theming, because Lord of the Hammer is based off of the religion and the prophecy and all that stuff. So,
and this is like after the total shift at the end of chapter 3.
Yeah.
Another thing that's funny here is some people saying red herring.
A red herring dark world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, because I was not like a Flower King believer back in the day. I did think we were going to do like some light world activity in Flower King for some reason.
Okay.
But
interesting.
Yeah, like we'd have to like break in there for for something from ASGORE or something like that.
The code.
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe we'll do that. And that, yeah, about the double door though. Someone said something like, or it was mentioned that double door leads to a back door. That was like said by an NPC in chapter 2, according to one of the text responses. Do you know if that's true?
I think that is true. There is a back door, but then we also see a basement. So I think the double door leads to the basement, but then there's also a back door. I don't know. How Flower King is set up doesn't make any sense.
None of the buildings make sense.
Unless the basement is behind a secret door that's like the flower wall that's ASGORE is watering in chapter 1, which might be a thing. We know there's a basement.
No, those are stairs down. Those are stairs down though.
Yeah, but we can look through the window in chapter 4 and see a conspiracy board in ASGORE's basement. The layout of that building doesn't make sense.
It does not. The police building will be an upcoming Dark World location. Undyne and Absolute are both returning characters from Undertale, and now they're both working as police. Maybe they would both enter a Dark World at where they work. They must be returning for a reason. That's what I wrote on the survey as the summary. And overall, pretty negative, but almost 50% of people said that they wouldn't care if it was true. Because, I don't know, this is just kind of a nothing location, you know?
I'm surprised it wasn't more negative.
There are ones with even more negative ratings. I'm surprised those got worse than this one.
I'm surprised it got 3 and 4s and stuff instead of 1 and 2s.
Yeah, because this one would just be boring. It's just it's
just
gray.
Boring. If we spent a chapter here, it would be terrible.
Yeah, one of the criticism here was that police are already going to show up. I mean, Undyne did show up, but yeah, another criticism: no double door. But Chris's house. And then some more text responses mentioned that it didn't fit the escapism theme. What exactly would you do here? There isn't exactly much to work with. So yeah, this one's just gray. It's boring. That's why it's rated low. Nobody cared about it. See, that was easy to get through.
Yeah.
QC's Diner will be an upcoming Dark World location. So, QC, Catty, and Jockington are all characters. We can get a reaction from the Gunner Maker intro if we name ourselves or the vessel after that. And that could show that they're important in some way. And we see them all at this location. So it wouldn't be a stretch to assume that they'll probably be there again in some way. And with Catty, there's been a relationship between her and Susie set up. She doesn't like her at all. Susie doesn't want to walk into QC's Diner when
Catty is working.
And Catty hates her. So yeah, this seems to be setting up some sort of character arc between them. They would be inside and the fountain would be made
by Susie because of some drama that happens, and she makes one out of anger to show everything that she's been doing and to show the actual magic she knows.
And the Dark World would probably be food theme or fast food theme in some way. And this one was more in the middle. It's leaning a little more towards negative, but it's mostly just in the middle. It's kind of a little bit better than Police Station, you know? This one had more characters that was brought up in the summary, so it has a little bit more to work with, and it's not a super gray location.
Yes, it's definitely better than the Police Station.
Yeah.
Still feels very random.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is one of those locations where it's if we were doing 10 chapters, then I could see it maybe happening.
Yeah. This was a theory. This was a theory I used to had, brought it up heavily in both my night videos. I don't think this one's really that likely anymore. We're not getting 10 chapters, but unless we're doing multiple Dark World locations in one chapter, then QC could show up. Do I think we're gonna do multiple Dark World locations in one chapter? I don't know, but it's kind of likely. I don't know. It's weird. Another Dark World location that was theorized about was the hospital. Just like the hospital Dark World, the supposed theme that each of those Dark Worlds would have been kind of shown before, in chapter 2.
Oh,
care,
yeah.
Health.
Yeah, the fucking
health.
Antivirus Darkness.
Yeah, the health and hospital themed enemies in chapter 2.
Yeah, there was they were shown in a teaser for chapter 2 back before it came out, and that caused some people to theorize that hospital would be chapter 2.
And in chapter 3, we kind of have like the theme of food shown before, I'm not saying that debunks it, but it's still important to bring up, because people have brought that up to talk against a hospital themed Dark World.
Maybe? I don't know. I didn't really see anybody argue that.
I remember that, at least. 2 more things I want to mention. From like text responses, but these characters sound right, but probably not the right location. This theory did bring up a bunch of different characters to argue for it.
Yeah.
Explanation sounds fair, if not the most likely thing ever. I did ask at the end of the survey if they had like watched my night videos, and then I would like filter that out and see if the results were different. But like it was just a small amount that said yes, so it barely has any effect. The chart barely changes, so it really doesn't say much. Another text response was ICE better, which was another light world location that was kind of similar to this one. Would also be food themed. And it's also the next theory. IC's Pizza will be an upcoming Dark World location. So this one did do a little bit better. We can still kind of see a little bit more in the middle, but it is moving towards the positive side too. Like a bit of a chunk in the middle.
Yeah, this one is like definitely decently popular.
Yeah.
It was like in the top 8, I want to say, most popular overall. Somewhere within there. And
it didn't do as well as Flower King, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it didn't do as well as like Flower King or Festival, but it did better than like most of the other ones because this was more of a chapter 5 or 6 prediction specifically.
Yeah.
And it's really only popular.
Yeah, because
I want to say because of
Kamibuchi.
7 days. Yeah, because of Kamibuchi doing 7 days, 7 nights, which it really does go to show just how fucking popular that video was and how popular that theory was, how much people liked it. Man, how much influence can one singular person have, right?
Yeah.
Within a community. Like he really convinced a lot of people.
Apparently, it's weird because like he said that
it's a fun idea.
He really believed in like Chris Knight though. But
it was
this
like
video.
Yeah, it's not relevant.
Because it's.
I mean, we're going to talk more about 7 days, 7 nights when we get to the night video, of course.
Yeah.
But just in regards to the IC prediction part of that.
Yeah.
Right. I do think it's a fun idea. I do get
pizza.
The appeal.
I do get the appeal.
As we're gonna, it's another thing of if we had 10 chapters, then we could fit in an icy pizza Dark World, and it could probably be pretty good.
Yeah. It's less likely now, unless we're doing multiple. I don't know about that.
It's just there's just no real way to fit into the plot at this point. The plot is just too fast moving, really,
it's
at
not
this point.
That fast, but yeah. I mean, it's kind of fast.
It's a lot faster than what people thought it was gonna be.
It is actually kind of fast. I don't know.
Like most people didn't think the night was gonna show up till chapter 5.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, it's not that fast.
I would say it's about the same speed that most Chris Knighters thought it would be moving at, but most people were not Chris Knighters. Right? And most people thought the pacing of the game would be very slow and that the night wouldn't show up until chapter 5.
I love slow pacing. Actually, I don't have anything against it. Anyways, a lot of people brought up FNAF. And, that's also because of Kamibuchi. Yes. But it's funny because, I don't know, people wanted this to be like to reference FNAF and stuff because it's like a pizzeria. And IC in general.
IC in general definitely does feel weirdly plot relevant.
Yeah.
Right? He was teased a lot in the Spamton sweepstakes with the whole IC cryptid stuff. And that ties directly into Death. And the whole IC burned out eyes box connects back to ERAM.
IC's ERAM.
Yeah.
And the weird Easter eggs every now and again in regards to IC.
Like Death burnt out the IC box's eyes, right?
Yeah,
and then the ERAM's boss fight theme is burning eyes,
It's weird. 2 people I found thought that this was less believable than the QC's Diner theory, apparently.
Sorry.
Cool.
Some people
thought we'd get a duo of those 2, next to each other. I wonder how that would have been.
Could have maybe done it.
Yeah, it could have. That would have justified them a little bit more, maybe. Yeah. Sans's shop will be an upcoming Dartwell location. This one did closer to how the police station, but worse. Yeah. Not great at all.
For good reason, because nobody wants this and nobody ever considered it. I don't think I've ever saw anybody really propose this idea.
I don't know. I guess I considered it when like throwing out like locations that could possibly happen, like in my Chris Night video. But I suggested like more than the amount of chapters we had left. So it's like, I don't know where these characters I think are gonna show up, are gonna
but when it comes to the theories and locations like this, it was always a matter of we don't have enough chapters and there's too many really important locations that are clearly gonna have a dark world.
Yeah.
Or could
so this one's pointless.
Have a dark world that this one doesn't like match up, right? You couldn't put this up against Church or Flower King or the Shelter or the Festival or Noelle's house or like the hospital, right? It could not compete against those, you know?
Yeah, it cannot. A lot of different text responses. Like, not sure Sans would be that significant in the main story, which I don't know. Looking at the new chapters, he does seem to be somewhat important. Like some other text responses, people don't want Sans to be the popular big guy again, you know, because he got a lot of fan content during the Undertale. You know, don't really want Sans to be important here. Some other text response said. Other text response was like, no double door, you know. What about the theme? You know, typical stuff like that. When it's like a less considered dark world location, those are going to be questions that are brought up. One thing that was brought up was the shop is way too active. I don't know if that really matters.
Yeah,
I really don't think that matters.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a theory that nobody thought or believed in. We'll say though, it seems like Sans will be in the next Dark World.
I mean, he will definitely be important. He will be in the Dark World location. I can tell you that for sure. Just come to me if you want to know who will show up in the Dark World location. Sans's house will be an upcoming Dark World location. This one has more 1 and 2s than like Sans's shop, but it actually has like less 3s, 4s, and 5s, and a few more positive ones. So this ended up getting a higher average than Sans's shop, and it's probably because of like Papyrus, who was inside. Like that was in evidence I wrote down. Both Sans and Papyrus are
mentioned in the Gunner Maker.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives it a little bit more to stand on. And you know, we're building up to Papyrus showing up in some way, or whatever is up with him, you know? Even if that place in particular is the Dark World or not, you know?
Yeah, I guess this is this one's for all the Papyrus Night truthers, you know?
Oh yeah, obviously.
Did even Papyrus Nighters believe in this? I don't think so.
I can add a chart and I can check that. Oh, you'll get a yes or no for that. But yeah, same points that were said about the previous one kind of apply here. Not many people really believed in it, and people didn't want Sans to get his spotlight again, you know?
Yeah.
Here's a good text response. They wouldn't make Undertale places a Dark World. What do you think about that one? That's kind of interesting. Because if this was true, then we'd basically kind of be visiting an Undertale place again. Like, but as a Dark World.
That's true. I mean, that is true.
I mean, we're probably going to be able to go in there at some point, maybe. And it's probably going to look almost identical, maybe. But it's not going to be a Dark World. I don't know. Maybe we won't even be able to go inside. You mentioned Papyrus Night. One text response mentioned, like, makes sense if Papyrus Night is canon, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hospital will be an upcoming Dark World location. And now we're finally back ones
that people actually theorized about.
Doing just as good as like Flowershop. They basically did around the same, you know.
Yeah, in terms of ratings on this graph, it was about equal with Flowershop.
Yeah.
This was like the second most popular Chapter 5 Dark World location. It was a little bit behind Flowershop, but it was definitely like a contender, you know?
Yeah.
It was like a reasonable debate to be had regarding it in Flowershop.
This one seems to be a little bit less likely now, I feel, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's still possible for like Chapter 7, I would say, but like, This was my Chapter 5 theory, right? This is what I thought was going to happen. I thought Noelle would make the Chapter 5 Dark World in the hospital, and since she would bring her Dragon Blazers game, it would be Dragon Blazers theme. It would mostly be based on her game, and so we would do the video game themed chapter in Chapter 5. That was my theory, but then we ended up doing Dragon Blazers video game theming in Chapter 3, because despite Chapter 3 being advertised as a TV themed Dark World, it was actually just a video game themed Dark World with like TV frosting.
I don't know. I would say it's more media themed.
I would say it's pretty video game themed, considering you spend 89% of the chapter playing video games.
Yeah.
It's video game themed. Like, the only TV portion is like the TV world segment, and even that's like I don't know. It doesn't even feel that TV themed. Even it just kind of feels like a backstage of like a show. So yeah, we ended up doing video games in chapter 3 as opposed to TV. So no real point in doing video games in chapter 5 now. There's that a big point against it, right? Because the idea would be like Noelle would make the fountain in order to try and heal Rudy.
Yeah, that was
magic.
Oh yeah, I should pull up the summary I have here. At the end of chapter 2, Noelle talks about like how this world isn't that bad of a place, and it's a world where someone can be healed with a spell, and people think that she's thinking about Rudy and his condition, and this could be setting up her trying to save her dad eventually.
I do think something like this is still going to happen in chapter 7. I still think Noelle is going to make the Dark World.
Yeah.
I still think she's probably going to try to save Rudy to some extent.
Yeah,
Rudy's still going to probably get worse and die or something.
Yeah, and Rudy is mentioned in the Gunner Maker intro.
Yes.
Do you think Dustner, or do you think he will be like a regular Lightner?
I think the idea would be like he gets sicker, or just Noelle tries to heal him. It still feels like something along those lines is going to happen in chapter 7. I always believed Noelle would make both the chapter 5 fountain and the chapter 7 fountain. And with chapter 5 being Flower King instead, she still has the opportunity to do this stuff with Rudy and make the fountain in chapter 7. So something akin to this is still kind of on the table, even if it's not in chapter 5. Whether or not it will actually be located in the hospital or it will be like outside at the festival, I feel like the festival is probably more likely, but yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the later theories we get to. We'll see eventually. You can find like old fan content, where you can see like, oh, what would this hospital Dark World look like, I don't know. I've heard of like Chris performing surgery. I don't know what exactly happens in it, but you could look that up if you're interested.
I'm pretty sure the idea with that is there's a Dark World inside of Rudy.
Friend inside me.
It's like Osmosis Jones type stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Town Hall will be an upcoming Dark World location. Noelle's mom is the mayor. Noelle is already an important character, and her mom seems to be set up as this harsh mother. So this could be a Dark World location where they bond or anything like that, and we develop their characters further here. And this one's also kind of in the middle. It's still a little bit better than I thought it would. It feels like kind of a gray area, similar to like the police station. Kind of a little bit of a boring location. You have the Noelle's house. That I feel like that would be better for these characters, but it would have provided some lore in regards to Carol and Noelle, I guess, which might be why it's higher than like, I don't know, Santa's house. He wasn't really that important back in like chapter 1 or 2, besides deep lore stuff, but like multiverse travel. Like I said, you have like the church, hospital, mansion. Those would be like better Dark World locations for these characters.
Yeah, for Noelle. Yeah, the problem with Town Hall is that there's just nothing in it. It's like, what would even be the Dark Nurse? There's nothing interesting here,
This is just the mayor.
Like, what thematic idea would it be, It's just kind of like boring.
Yeah, people asked about the theme here. Escapism through politics? That could work, someone said.
Yeah.
I guess this is just like the Mayor Night location for those that want.
It's like, it's a Sans' house for Mayor Night, essentially,
I guess, yeah.
But like, even if you're doing Mayor Night, just do Noelle's house. It's way better.
I mean, I'm not saying like people that like Mayor Night were like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. I'm just saying, it's just more like they were probably more likely to look at this one fondly if they believed in Mayor Night, Looking at like some text responses. Noelle already confronted her mom through confronting Queen. I mean, we still have 5 chapters left, We still have a lot of time left to develop her character, Noelle's mom deserves no character arc, someone said. That's fucking funny. Do you agree with that statement? Even with the new chapters, do you agree?
No.
No, I don't agree.
No, I don't agree.
But what if she's evil? What if she's evil? We can't. We
Good.
can't. Yeah,
Good.
good. Okay, not enough content in the building to base an entire chapter off of. Yeah, like you said. The bunker will be an upcoming Dark World location. Now this one's just overwhelmingly positive. I don't think I don't think I even need to like. I don't even need to.
Yeah, this is the first like full 10 out of 10. Everybody agrees that this one is gonna happen.
Yeah.
We already know that there's a Dark World in there. We know that's where the knight is hiding.
Yeah. And then now we've been speeding up to this location. I wasn't expecting the bunker to be this relevant or be this important this quickly. I mean, it might have
because it's made very relevant at the end of chapter 3, right? Where
yeah,
like, we gotta get the codes to it. And
yeah, now we have the conspiracy and code finding stuff. That was like the whole Noelle's house segment.
Yeah, it was like a huge plot point in chapter 4. And it's like, I agree, because I was also like kind of expecting this to not become very relevant until like end of chapter 4, like through chapter 5 sort of thing. Okay. Bit of a slow build up where we learn about deaths and stuff. That was always the idea.
This location it'll probably likely happen.
Yeah.
Build up. It's not gonna build up to nothing.
The interesting thing about this theory specifically is that there is a bit of divide between people with whether or not this will be the chapter 6 location or the chapter 7 location.
Yeah. But people agree that it's gonna be at the end.
I'm feeling chapter 6. I think it makes sense that go through chapter 5. The ending of chapter 5 will be everybody going into the bunker, and then chapter 6 will be the shelter Dark World and stuff.
I've seen some people like say like, oh, it's not gonna be a proper Dark World. It's gonna be like a segment, you explore the place or something like that.
I mean, I know that was like the big super hot take from Cammy Boy G in his video, was that he didn't think the shelter would be a Dark World and that we would do Icy's Pizza instead.
Yeah, that was really weird. Why would you not want to have the shelter? I don't know. The bunker was kind of always gonna happen since day one. Like with the text responses, people wrote like, will the Chekhov's gun fire? I mean, yeah, of course it will.
Chekhov's fucking bazooka.
Yeah. We're gonna end up there at some point. Dark World or not. Yeah. Whatever is happening with the bunker is going to be somewhat more complicated than that, someone said. More complicated than the regular Dark World. So depths stuff? Where even is the depths?
And the bunker, I guess,
I guess. Maybe gas leak theory is true. Like, all of the gas is the depths. And, that's where the darkness comes from. That's how the Dark Worlds are made. That's where they got the gas. They're getting the gas from Gaster.
Only 5 people gave this a 1.
Damn, imagine that. Okay. At least it has, like, more twos than ones, because at least it showed that they had decency to not be like, oh, this is the worst fucking thing ever. I hate it. This sucks. Fuck you. Yeah. Winggaster. What else can we say here? I don't know.
I mean, this was actually only the second most popular Dark World location theory, wasn't it?
The
one after this was actually even more popular than this.
Wait, it was?
Yes. If you look at the other graph, you'll see.
Not real. No, bunker was more popular, but yeah.
The most mentioned Dark World locations graph, it says church was more popular.
Oh yeah. Church was mentioned more times, but yeah. The next theory is the church will be an upcoming Dark World location. So this one did really well, and it was true. We were literally like 2 chapters away from it. Yeah, like the game so far had like plenty of religious imagery. The religion in Hometown had like a really big entity called the Angel. And that could be the same one that's briefly mentioned in the story Rousey tells, which was true, by the way. Maybe we could learn more about it here. And we did. Rudy talks about wanting to go to church tomorrow. And then we get that, in chapter 3. That takes place over the night. So that would still be the day after chapter 2. So there was a lot working for this one. A lot of this was true in the summary.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this was the overwhelmingly dominant chapter 4 prediction. How almost everybody believed in it. and it was just correct. So this is one of those big points of everybody in the community kind of collectively getting a theory correct. This is one of those big examples of the community just being right about a very popular theory.
But, I mean, there was some Dark World.
There were others, but like
considered
primarily
this
this
chapter,
was the theory, and it does go against the argument of wow, chapter 3 and 4 were complete blindsides. Nobody predicted anything right. I'm like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
There were very popular theories that were correct, like this one.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I guess it's more so the plot that people weren't able to properly predict, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're looking at the more specific predictions people made about Chapter 4, Dark World, then they were definitely, like, wrong. My Chapter 4 Dark World prediction was definitely the most accurate, because I thought it would be about Lord of the Hammer and religion, be a mix of literature, theming, and have a Gerson boss fight, and he'd be, like, the centerpiece NPC. And I was right. You know, I was even right about the fact that he would be a character whose primary function would be to help the characters through their character arcs and stuff like that.
Now, there is something about this chart, this current chart, though, and it's that this survey was open until like a couple of days before the new chapters dropped, which meant that the trailer, which basically just confirmed Church Dark World, that affected the ratings. Filtering that, I compared the ratings before and after the chapters, and you can clearly see a difference. You can see people just being like, yeah, it's just the church. The church is gonna show up.
Yeah.
It looks a slightly different before the trailer. A little bit less tense, but it's pretty overwhelmingly positive with like 8s, 9s, and 10s. You know, there was a lot of evidence going towards it with just chapter 2.
Yeah, it's true. For me, the church was kind of like soft confirmed when the cup walking guys were teased off, because it's like the little cup darkeners. Yeah, because it's like they were red solo cups, and we knew that Susie would be using solo cups to drink fruity juice from the church. That was also teased. So like we knew we were going to visit the church in the light world, and that Susie would drink fruity juice with a solo cup, and then we see solo cup darkeners in a teaser, and it's like, yeah, we're doing the church dark world. It's like,
for text responses, people brought up like religious imagery and such, because you know that ended up being pretty important now, obviously. One text response that I thought was funny, probably true, but I wanted to not be true to spite Alvin truthers. I remember when the trailer dropped with like the church in chapter 4. I remember people being like, oh, Alvinite is happening, it's so totally happening.
He didn't even get to that dark world. We did get Gerson though.
No. Yeah, Alvin was never gonna show up like in any way. I didn't think that. Didn't Alviniters want him to show up in chapter 5? Wasn't that gonna be his chapter?
Depends on if they also believed in chess theory, I guess.
Yeah. Graveyard will be an upcoming Dark World location. Basically, all the same points that can be said about Church can be said here, except that here we have like an important dialogue from like Father Alvin. So maybe there will be some sort of Dark World here. You know, an outside location, which was kind of a little bit crack. But this one did not too poorly for being a location outside. There were a couple of those.
Yeah. This one was like weirdly somewhat popular, and I kind of get why, because there's people theorizing about like a Gerson Dustner, which we did get. In regards to kind of highlight the fact that this could never possibly happen because it's outside. Yeah. Right. And we got the Gerson Dustner anyway, so it's like.
Yeah. Oh no, this one's fucking weird.
This, you know.
We could talk about Alvin here. Shit that he says. That Alvin scene is kind of weird in retrospect, isn't it? A little bit.
A little. Only in the sense that you have to question whether or not he dug up the hammer and the game just doesn't give us any teases for that after the fact, or if he just never buried the hammer and he lied about it being buried.
Yeah. When it came to like a Gerson Darkner showing up, that was something I believed was gonna happen, you know?
Yeah, same.
I didn't even bother. I was like, I just believe it's gonna be the church. I don't believe there's gonna be graveyard. I just think something is gonna happen that allows Gerson to show up there. I'm not even gonna do some weird shit with the graveyard. I don't know. I went the easy route for that. I don't know. I didn't think that there was gonna be like a cool Lord of the Hammer self insert that Gerson made. A main character guy like you thought.
You just thought it would be a Dustner?
Yeah, I thought it was just gonna be a Dustner. That's just kind of what I preferred because Gerson's name was literally on the
Garner Maker list.
See, I thought we would get a Gerson Darkener and a Gerson Dust.
Yeah, you did think that. Yeah.
This
was just a weird alternative to like a Church Dark World, unless you were doing both. Some text responses did say stuff like included in church. Like some people thought this would be included with that. Kinda bad if Church is separate Dark World, but okay if both are together. I guess they would be okay, but I don't know how they would be grouped together. It's outside, like we talked about. People also brought up Oberon Smog jokingly. Yeah. Yeah, this was just a weird way to justify Gerson when he could just show up in the church regularly, like he did. The lake will be an upcoming Dark World location. This one did around the same as the one we just talked about. This one's also a location that's just literally outside. It's weird, like it's just an open area. Or maybe it's like you jump into it. But the summary at least was like, there is a lot of water imagery in regards to the Dark World. Fountains, an audio file named Ocean, placed when you first enter the Dark World in Chapter 1. The Garner Maker background is referred to as depths in the file name. And it's literally an edited image of an ocean. We also have like Onion Song and this weird song they're hearing. And to me, it just kind of seemed like people mistook the general like water and darkness imagery that was like set up, and for this theory it seemed like they were mistaking that for like, oh, we're gonna get like a lake Dark World, but it's just like symbolism really for the story. Like Noelle has this ice magic, they're literally like the winter Christmas family, snow and ice, that's like the opposite of water, freezing darkness,
ice is frozen water.
Freezing the Dark Worlds so they can stay forever, that kind of idea is, it's symbolism. It's not setting up this lake Dark World.
I don't know. The lake always feels like a bit of a random thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel necessarily impossible. It just kind of feels like...
Yeah, it's random. Somehow
it feels like it might be connected to the bunker somehow, and I think that would make enough sense. But
I don't know. I think it's just that the song that Onion-san hears can just be heard from there, from underwater, just well enough. Because, if you go underwater, then you're basically underground.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea.
I don't know why so many open areas were like theorized. Weird.
It's random because it's like, what would we do in terms of like darkness and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. This is why the depths in like the bunker would just be like simpler to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not gonna happen. We're just gonna get the bunker instead. Some text responses was like, it'll definitely be important if it's not a Dark World. I just think Dark Worlds need a strong theme, and Lake isn't strong. Lol. I hate Onion-san so much. Why did he stop appearing? Strange, wasn't it?
That is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. What was the point of that? Is he gonna show up again in Chapter 5 and be like, oh, I forgot? Do you think he's gonna be like that? Okay.
I don't know.
The festival will be an upcoming Dark World location. And this one did fairly well. A little bit worse than Church and Bunker, but a bit better than like Flower King. I didn't write much for the summary. I just wrote, the festival is an event Susie mentions. Maybe this is where the roaring would finally happen and stuff like that, Simple as that.
Yeah, this is one of the more popular theories. Yeah. It's also very much still on the table. This is primarily theorized about regarding Chapter 7 with the idea that like, oh, somebody will make a Dark World outside, aka Noelle, and this will start the roaring and stuff, and it will be in the middle of the festival, so therefore Dark World will be in the festival, that sort of thing. Yeah. It seems likely that this could happen in Chapter 7. It also feels possible that this could happen in Chapter 5 instead of Flower King, and ASGORE will just also be there.
Yeah.
Right? That still feels like it's potentially possible, since we are going to be doing festival stuff, at least in the Light World in Chapter 5.
Yeah.
At least that's what's being teased. Unless we don't actually do it in Chapter 5, and we just see the festival getting set up, and then we only actually do the festival in Chapter 7, because the last 3 chapters take place over the course of a single day, which I could see that happening.
Some text responses was like, will be more of a light world cutscene.
Yeah.
And then it would like focus on Bunker and stuff like that at the end. Doubt the roaring will be that early. The carnival will happen around chapter 4, most likely. I mean, I don't know where they got that idea from, but it's probably most likely gonna start in chapter 5.
There's also just a matter of like, these town festivals, they usually last a full week. Even if this is only like a 1-day event, it's very likely that the entirety of chapters 5, 6, and 7 will all take place over the last day,
Yeah, one text response said, RPG trope, 12,481th. If there is a big event, things will go down at said event. So yeah, this obviously something is gonna happen here.
Yeah, the festival is obviously important, and like even if we do have a dark world there, we're obviously gonna still do a bunch of stuff in the light world with it before that. But like, yeah I do think this is still gonna be the chapter 7 dark world.
Like the other locations, outside locations, those could appear here. There is a little counterpoint, I guess I kinda have or whatever, and I saw some other people have, is that this doesn't count as like a dark world. Like it's kind of, the roaring is kind of its own separate thing. It's something else. Early tweets like that correspond with like when Toby had the dream, he like talks about like reality and fiction meeting. And the way I at least interpreted those was like, it's more like the light world and dark worlds are mixing together instead of being two separate worlds. It's dream and reality meeting. I don't know how much that makes sense, but that was at least something I had in mind, and something I wrote. Weirdly enough, this theory does have a couple of 5s though, more 5s a little bit.
This is like a very like late game theory too, so it makes sense that more people would be like iffy on it than say like chapter 4 being the church.
Yeah. I mean, it still did fairly well.
Yeah.
Noelle's house will be an upcoming Dark World location. Noelle's mom is the mayor, as we've addressed and as we know now. Noelle is already an important character. We have Rudy, we have Des, and we could develop these characters more here. We had like multiple newsletters that kind of teased at this location, Noelle's basement and such, with like big Christmas boxes and wrappers. And Toby also posted like concept art, and one of them was like a cropped image of Noelle in the building that didn't match anywhere, and people kind of guessed that maybe this is Noelle's house. And this one did fairly decent. It wasn't like the biggest thing in the world, but this was like a theory that
this one was
building up.
Relatively popular.
It was wrong, but we did this
so far.
I guess so. People thought it was gonna be like for chapter 4.
Yes, yeah. This was usually like the only meaningful competition that Church Chapter 4 had. Was this one.
Yeah, it was this one. It was one I was flip-flopping between this one and Church, I guess. We did get like a pretty interactive bit here that actually had gameplay.
Yeah, there was a meaningful Light World segment, which is what I always believed. I always believed that there would be like a meaningful Light World segment at Noelle's house, and that the Church would be the Dark World. But
yeah. This one was like a theory that was kind of building up thanks to like the newsletters because of like the teasers that were shown. So there was like kind of a recency bias that can kind of happen. And so people kind of forget about like all the fucking church setup. I could say I was a little bit guilty of that, but I kind of had both of them on my mind.
Yeah, what basically happened was we got a bunch of teasers for the Noelle House Light World segment, and then people were like, oh, well, if we go to Noelle's house in the Light World, therefore it must be the Dark World location.
It happens.
That was their leap in logic.
Yeah, this kind of thing happens. New content, and then people will forget about the old. I've seen it before, different fandom, but, for every new Digital Circus episode, people would be like, oh, this character's gonna abstract. No, this character's gonna abstract. It switched every episode. It's silly. It's kind of like that's how theories like Rousey has like no dark world object came from, because people are looking at like new information and kind of forgetting about this relationship Chris has with Rousey and how big that was. Are we gonna forget about that?
That one's just kind of weird, because people are just kind of like, well, the chapter 3 Darkners don't talk about Rousey being the headband, and it's just like, why would they talk about that? Why would Toby reveal that information like that? Like, obviously this is being set up for a big reveal. Why would he do it like that? It's like the chapter 1 Darkners don't talk about Chris playing with them in the past, despite the fact that in chapter 3 we learned that they did. So So, you know, it's like, clearly this is not like the type of thing that Toby cares about, because he did this exact same thing with chapter 1. So, yeah, the notion that Ralsei can't be the headband because the chapter 3 Darkners don't acknowledge that fact is silly. And like the idea that they don't acknowledge him at all is also just objectively wrong. Tenna does it all the time. He made a plush of Ralsei before he even met him.
Yeah, yeah, about this Dark World location though, I guess it could still happen. It hasn't been proven wrong, but you know, people thought it was gonna be for chapter 4, so it's not like this really has that high of a chance.
I have seen some people still fighting for it.
Really?
With the new chapter.
Damn.
Yes, I've seen people argue for it in, like, I think the chapter 6 slot.
Maybe. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know, maybe.
I think the argument is that Bunker will actually be chapter 7 and then Wells House will be chapter 6 or something.
Actually, you know, I wouldn't hate that, but who knows what's gonna happen. Oh yeah, when the trailer dropped, I remember seeing a few people being like, this is actually for Noelle's house because of the windows. But those are pretty church-like windows. So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't find too many interesting text responses. I did see like disappointing, but not very unlikely. Doubt it, but not too bad.
I mean, Dess's room could make for a cool Dark World, but yeah.
Yeah, we did get some pretty cool stuff here.
2.
Text responses in particular said, already got on house, you know, Chris's house. So
Yes.
do you think we're gonna get another now that we had Chris's house? I don't think it means that much, but that is a fair point, I feel.
Yeah. We also already got Toriel in the Dark World, and now we're doing Asgore and Flower kind. But, you know, Toriel also just slept through the entirety of the Dark World.
Yeah, she didn't do shit. It's so annoying.
Watch Asgore also be asleep, but mind-controlled puppet by flowers through the entirety of chapter 5 or some terrible shit like that.
I want Guest Lightners again. That was fun.
I think chapter 5 is going to have a lot of that.
Yeah, it's going to have a bunch of them all at once. Oh my god, no. The next theory is Catty's house will be a Dark World location, and this is just the location I added for the sake of it because I saw some people arguing for it. I don't know.
Nobody believed this.
Nobody believed. I remember someone arguing for it in the lore pit because, of course, there.
Well, you know, they were probably one of the 3 people that gave it a 10, I guess.
The summary said like we get like Catty mentioned in the Glamour, which means she's important, and Bratty is also mentioned. And Catty and Bratty hate each other, but they liked each other in Undertale, so maybe we'll have like a character arc that show them coming back together. And we've already had like Undyne and Alphys getting together set up, you know. That's what that said. Who cares? Who fucking cares?
We'll be if we even get to enter this house in the light world, let alone
we're not. Let me just read some text responses. That's probably going to be interesting. If we get Catty as a party member, it would make more sense to be in the diner or ICs or something, you know. Catty and Bratty are side characters and wouldn't be worth a full chapter Dark World. This shit is not a good theory. Car. We're just naming people's houses now. One of them just said car. And then the next one is just Bratty's house. It's the same one. Also really bad. This one also did really bad.
It got more 10s though.
What? No way. That's insane. No, more
got, like,
3s.
7 10s.
That's so funny. I don't know. I guess this one did worse because, you know, Bratty doesn't have a sister and she doesn't have like a whole family that we see. So I don't know. She has less working for her.
Yeah, this is worse because you gotta keep in mind the Catty house at least has like that 3 code thing from the shelter on the door for some reason.
And also, obviously, Catty's the knight, so we are obviously gonna visit there.
Catty is unironically one of the best knight candidates. I'm being completely serious for real.
For chapter 2.
No. In chapter 3 and 4, like Catty is like a top 3. Catty with an I specifically is like top 3 knight candidates. It's like Des, Chris, again, Chris somehow, you know, shadow projection, puppet bullshit, and then Catty. And then I guess 4th place goes to Noelle, and that's it. Everybody else is like 0% chance. It was like, they have to either be Chris or the girl that Chris played with, and the only girls that Chris could have potentially been playing with are Noelle, Des, or Catty. And whoever the girl is has to be the knight. Therefore, Catty is like one of the best possible knight candidates.
Looking at like text responses for this one, who came up with this? Since Bratty is a minor character, I doubt it. Waste of a chapter. Why? Feels even less important. Who came up with these? Yeah, the lore pit. You're to blame. I know one of you are watching. This is the last one for these Dark World locations. The Appartments will be an upcoming Dark World location. It doesn't need to be all of them, or it could just be one specific one. This one's at least a little bit better than the last two. Still not the best in the world, not the most interesting, but you know, people think that Susie probably lives here and that we might like visit here. We're probably not gonna get a Dark World, but you know, it did pretty bad. Just, you know, this one did do better. Looking at like text responses, people said like, not everything needs to be Dark World exploration. It seems like more of a real world exploration. Waste for a Dark World. And yeah, I kind of agree. This is, if we're gonna go there, we're probably just gonna visit it. But you know, we already did that. We kind of did that in chapter 3.
You know, technically, if we're counting Ralsei's like Dark World exploration cutscene at the start of chapter 3, technically this did happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this was true. Yeah. You're right. This theory was true. 100%.
Yeah.
This is a 10 out of 10 theory. I actually agree with you. This theory was true.
Yeah.
This is going to be a bit of a segment for this video. So people were asked about like the different chapters and what Dark World locations would show up there. It was a lot to go through. I had to manually go through it. It took hours to just check this. As you can see, each of these Dark World locations are labeled with like a symbol or a letter. That was just so it was easier to go through. There was a lot I had to like change. If people mentioned more than one, then those would be included too. Unless it was like church, but second place is Noelle's house. Then I would cut the second place out and only include the first place one and similar stuff like that. Or if people only said like, I don't know, or this kind of theme, then I wouldn't include it because I don't know what Dark World location that is. That is not a location, that is just a theme.
Yeah.
As you can see, church was like mentioned the most throughout all the chapters.
Yep.
Which is insane. Like even more than the bunker.
Yeah, just looking at the list, you can kind of see where it's just like, there's really only like 8 popular picks that people really believed in, and then like QCs and everything else is kind of like nobody really believed in this for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, church had like more chapters to work with. The bunker only had like the last 2.
I mean, going down by popularity, we had church number 1, and then we had bunker number 2, and then there was a pretty meaningful drop, and then we have Flowershop and Festival pretty much neck and neck, and then we go down to hospital, which was like below that, and then Noelle's house, and then Icy's. And then we got the roaring. But the roaring is like also basically just a festival, right?
We'll bring that up later. For this first one, though, for the first chapter, church pretty much won by a landslide. Now, obviously, this is including all of them. If we cut it down to, like, just before the trailer, then nothing fucking changes. Church was obviously the big majority here.
Yeah. And as you can see, it kind of supports our argument that we said before, that Noelle's house was the only kind of runner-up, any competition, meaningful competition that church had. And even with it being the only meaningful competition, it still got demolished completely. You know?
Yeah. I guess some people believe in Flowershop for some reason. Yeah.
No
Dark World. This is a good time to bring this up, you know? Yeah,
because this graph is honestly better at highlighting the No Dark World than that other one.
Yeah, No Dark World. That wasn't included as a theory on the original survey. It was brought up on the bonus survey. Even though it did pretty badly on that survey, you could see people who believed in it, you know?
Yes.
Here.
You can see that there was like a surprisingly like sizable contingent of people who believed that chapter 4 would just not have a Dark World at all,
which was insane.
Yeah like the fact that is like above 0 at all is kind of surprising to me.
I don't think it's that surprising. And for chapter 5, it's a little bit more. We still have a clear winner, which was just Flowershop.
Yes. So see here we can see that Flowershop was the most popular pick for chapter 5, but not nearly as dominant as chapter 4 for church was, you know.
But this is still kind of funny because this seems to just be where it is going. So yeah.
But it's notable in the fact that they did have more meaningful competition, especially from hospital. And then Icy coming in at 3rd place right behind hospital.
Noelle's house again.
Yeah.
And church.
Noelle's house again.
Yeah, some people did think that church was going to happen, but not for chapter 4, you know? I mean, people thought that the prophecy and stuff was important, but it was going to be brought up more here, and the story was going to build up tension from here. And also
I think when it comes to the church stuff, people were thinking it's like, oh, well, chapter 3 takes place Friday night, and then therefore chapter 4 will take place on Saturday, and then we'll do church on Sunday, you know, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
So that's why it was like that.
Speaking of, Kami Boji was brought up a lot when people mentioned the church, for whatever reason, because they talked about where it was in church, you know, away from like the main area. Yeah, some people said that the police station makes a lot of sense if Undyne gets involved in chapter 3, but I don't know, that didn't exactly happen. Undyne has been written out of the story. Obviously that had to have happened. You know, the knight can kind of go running around doing stuff. She doesn't want people to find out, you know. Oh, this one's interesting. One weird fucked up thing that happened, multiple people did this for some fucking reason. They answered like some weird variation of Dreamer's house. I don't know, it didn't seem like they thought I was talking about chapter 3. Maybe some of them were. It seemed like they answered the rest of it fine. And then there was like
one person
who like thought Chris's house was the whole story now. People thought they were just gonna be stuck there for ages. Like, not gonna get out of there until like chapter 5, which is like ridiculous. Why? How does that happen? It's so weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Weird. I've never heard that.
Yeah. Now we're on chapter 6 and 7. Now we're like endgame, the third act. I don't know, some of you may have looked at this chart and looked at like Festival and the Roaring and Hometown a bit. Think like those are kind of very similar. Those could have kind of been grouped together. I kind of wanted to be specific with what people said, you know. Well, except for the other category, you can see that some of them I just put into that. Yeah, this is how the chart looks normally, but if we include one
diagram
that includes the festival, Roaring, Hometown, no Dark World, because some people would refer to Roaring as like, oh, that's not a Dark World. There would be the Roaring instead. And multiple Dark World locations, because people would be like, oh, there would be multiple Dark World locations because the Roaring is there. It'll make sense why I grouped it together when we get to the last chapter. But yeah, here it's also all over the place, just like with chapter 5, even more so. And probably because it's more late game. People disagree even more here than they did on chapter 5. Here there is kind of a clear winner, but at the same time...
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that the bunker was the most popular pick.
Yeah.
Here.
Flowershop though, Noelle's house. Hospital did quite well. That was the second pick. Noelle's house, that's the second pick.
We can see the popularity of how many true believers there were of 7 Days, 7 Nights with the icy graph.
Yeah.
You know,
it's so weird. Yeah, when looking through like chapter 6, someone said like forest. I don't know what that means, like the forest. Take the chart in, look at it. And then chapter 7, here we see just Bunker winning. But if we like put like Festival and Roaring and all those together, then there is a bit more competition here. Bunker still won, but it might just be because, you know, people aren't too specific with their wording. Or, I don't know. But hey, they both did pretty well. And, you know, if the game is just normal enough, then we're probably just gonna have Flowershop, Bunker, and then Roaring. Or something like that.
Yeah.
So these charts are probably kind of accurate, maybe.
Yeah. That overall, people did actually manage to likely predict the entirety of the game.
We'll see. We'll see.
In terms of Dark World locations. We'll see.
Okay.
It could be a curveball, but it does feel like that's just what we're going to do. It's going to be Flowershop, then we'll do the Shelter, and then we're going to do the Festival / Roaring / Hometown / maybe Player Town. Maybe.
Yeah,
that's the one curveball that I could see happening.
Yeah, Player Town.
Player Town is actually chapter 7, but yeah.
Yeah, that was brought up a couple of times. Oh yeah, you know what I found? I found 3 people that didn't even know there would be 7 chapters. Like, I'm not joking. Okay, one person actually said that they weren't in the fandom.
I can't find them again. I don't know if they exist. I'm not going through all that again.
And then How does this happen? How is this a real person? The other guy, they were someone that really liked Papyrus Night, and that was the only thing from the recording that was correct. Basically, I wanted to show that this person liked and hated specific theories, just to show the connection between not being able to read and those theories. LOL.
I feel like that's like the average Redditor had that.
Yeah,
opinion.
but like they didn't even know that there were 7 chapters. Like
well, of course, Deltarune fans don't actually play the game. You know,
they don't
think
read.
They played the game that's free.
This is insane. Circus. Adventures Endgame or whatever. I don't know. I'm not Toby Fox. I didn't dream this shit. That's such a funny way of referring to it. Yeah, some people mentioned like 2 Dark World locations. Like, oh, we're gonna have the hospital in the normal route and the bunker in the weird route. Cammy Boy showing his influence yet again. He's just haunting this survey. There's nothing I can do about it. People are gonna mention them regardless of what I do. He's just there. Can people mention Andrew Cunningham? He's never mentioned.
No, because Andrew Cunningham never made any actual theories.
What a loser. Just kidding. He's cool. I like Andrew Cunningham.
And Cammy Boy G.
You can still see some people picking some weird locations here. Like, oh, the town hall, the church. You know, it's strange.
Yeah.
So people were also asked about like chapters 8 up to 10 and also chapters 0 because those were also theorized to exist in some way, shape, or form. But these stats for like chapters 8 through 10 and 0 were just kind of hard for me to conceptualize. And like also the idea that the game was gonna go past chapter 7 wasn't like the most believed in thing besides like chapter 0. I'm just gonna put all the results like scrolling on screen and you can pause and find some funny stuff here. Some people were kind of treating chapter 8 as like the final chapter. That was kind of weird. There were a lot of joke responses. Other people did send in like joke responses basically as a way of saying, I don't know what I would pick. There were some funny ones like Gaster's Inside Story, Garden of Ban, Rory's House from YIIK, Death Nuts, Penguins. I hope I never see the penguins again. I don't want to see Scary Hole. Are you scared of the Scary Hole? Chestnut, does the hole scare you?
I mean, in regards to this, it does make sense that some people will be like, okay, there will be a secret 8th chapter, but also there will not be like a 9th and 10th chapter. It's like, that makes enough sense.
Yeah.
And that's still kind of reasonably viable.
Yeah. For chapter 0, those were a little bit more genuine. Like I said, that was more believed, you know. People mentioned like Castletown, a flashback chapter, like the past. No Dark World at all. That's kind of what I kind of thought that this is gonna be like a epilogue of sorts with not a proper Dark World you explore. It's just mostly just a cutscene and very short. That's kind of what I believed. Another thing I want to mention here. I'm not sure if this was a joke or I remember seeing a few people mentioning this, like Chris's mind dungeon. I don't know. This is not even Galian. I don't know what this is. How are we gonna enter?
That's a YIIK thing. Mind dungeon. That's like a YIIK thing. We're playing YIIK now.
Yeah, but Chris is the main protagonist. Now that we're done with that, we're gonna go back to the regular theories and such. On the bonus survey, there was this theory that was basically debunked with the new trailer, but I tried to like, yo, please rate it as if you would rate it back then, you know, or whatever. But it's kind of hard to know if it really actually worked or whatever. But so I don't know if the chart doesn't really work. We could just kind of ignore the spikes in ones basically. But low, this one was probably the low because it had like no gameplay, you know. But I did have like a theory that there would be a Dark World in chapter 4, but in the weird route there wouldn't be. You know, the idea was that Noelle was gonna make this dark fountain at her house, but in the weird route she wouldn't know how to make a dark fountain, so there wouldn't be a fountain there because it kind of drifts away from what the game is, because like little gameplay and such, you know. It's the weird route, it's taking a weird route or whatever. Yeah, like what I found, one text response did say only in the weird route it could be fine, so it seemed like other people had that idea too. Yeah, there isn't really that much to say here, but I just wanted to bring that up separately outside of like the charts we just went through. New characters. Which new characters do you think will appear in the Dark World from 3 to 7? And this list is pretty interesting, because,
Yes.
duh.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Toriel's number 1, but she only
80
percent of the vote. So there were still people that didn't put Toriel.
That's weird.
And would you argue that those people are correct? Because Toriel did sleep through the entirety of the chapters, so she barely was present at all. She was kind of just,
She's
turned
weird.
into an object. She could have been replaced with like a big shiny thingy.
I guess they're a quarter correct. I guess they're a quarter correct. She was
in the Dark World.
Yeah.
She did not do anything.
Undyne was also not really relevant. The second chunk though of characters though.
Yeah.
That's Undyne. She's surprisingly not even number 2. ASGORE for some reason. ASGORE
goes number 2. That is surprising.
Just by 11 votes. I don't know how that happened. Even though it was
the
chapter. How does that happen? What is the explanation?
A lot of people did think ASGORE would show up in chapter 3, but then on top of that, a lot of people are also like, oh yeah, we're doing ASGORE and Flower King, right?
Yeah, so that too, I guess. I guess those two those two together managed to push ASGORE just slightly over Undyne, I guess. That's kind of interesting.
It also feels like sort of thing where if the poll was slightly bigger or slightly different people, then Undyne would probably
obviously
win out over it, sort of thing.
And most of the people that did this were kind of in the fandom. It's kind of hard. I kind of realized when working on this project that it's kind of hard to trim it down to checking at results, that it's kind of hard to trim it down to just casuals. Sometimes I've tried, it kind of works a little bit. I don't know.
I think it's funny how ending of chapter 2 teased them being in the Dark World, so everybody made theories about that. And then their only roles within the Dark World is to show up for 5 minutes at the end. They literally do not do anything. Toriel exists entirely to be a damsel in distress for the heroes to save and for the knight to try and capture. And then Undyne shows up to try and protect Toriel, only to immediately get damseled herself. And that be the entire plot point of chapter 4.
Really?
And 5 and so on, is trying to save
Undyne. Aren't we gonna
think about it. The entire plot right now is save Undyne, who is being damseled by the evil knight, right?
Aren't these tropes gonna be subverted in some way?
I mean, yes, in the sense that Des, as the knight, is herself a damsel in distress, and that's kind of the idea, right? That's the reason why she's kidnapping women, right? Is because she was a damsel in distress and all that stuff, and then now she turned into the evil knight who kidnaps women and stuff.
I guess that's a way of looking into it.
That is how the trope is being subverted.
The third chunk, though, of following Lightners is Catty, Jockington, and then Des. These are very close to each other. Just look.
Yes, they are.
These are that's Catty and Jockington together.
Yeah, not too surprising.
Yeah. The marketing and stuff, that was teasing them. Jockington grows the beard.
Jockington grows the beard was one of the teaser images showed off right before the chapters came out. And Catty and Jockington, even before that, were super popular as seen by this graph. They were
they were grouped together.
5.
No, they were friends, besties.
Yeah, so it's everybody expected Catty and Jockington to show up in chapter 4. That was extremely popular theory as highlighted by this graph. And maybe they'll show up in chapter 5, but maybe they won't. Yeah. Maybe they just won't do anything, and it's gonna be Sans instead.
It was annoying that they didn't show up.
Yeah.
It was annoying that they didn't show up. I don't know.
Yes.
It was.
I mean, this was definitely one of the major points of frustration I saw from people right after the chapters came out in regards to Toriel and Undyne both doing literally nothing. And then Catty and Jockington also doing literally nothing. The reason why this was such a popular theory was because of the fact that we had, Noelle and Birdley in chapter 2.
Yeah.
And then chapter 3 was already being set up that Toriel and Undyne would be there and they would do something. So everybody expected them to do something, but then they ended up doing nothing. And so because we expected them to do something, we also expected Catty and Jockington to show up in chapter 4 and do something. And then they didn't show up at all.
Yeah, it wanted... First we get Guest Lightners, and then it kind of subverts that by not using the Guest Lightners at all, and then it goes even further and doesn't have any at all or something. It's moving away from the typical chapter formula you've heard it been talked about gazillion times before.
And then Des did show up because she's the knight.
Yeah, she showed up.
Of course, everybody expected... Yeah, people expected Des to be in the Dark World, of course. Even if she wasn't the knight, they expected her to find her lost girl. So people expected Des a lot.
Yeah.
But next chunk, go on that.
Yeah, next chunk. Fucking Father Allington above Gaster.
Who's Father Allington?
Can you believe that? The gas.
We have Father
insane.
Alvin, Gaster, and then Noelle's mom. Father Alvin is above Gaster.
How does that happen?
It's because of Alvinite. I guarantee you that's entirely Alvinite.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, yeah, I know it's obvious that. How did the fandom trick itself to do that?
Yeah.
Over Gaster?
Because obviously all Alviniters thought he would show up in a Dark World. But then I wonder how many non-Alviniters thought Father Alvin would also show up in a Dark World.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I thought he had no chance. No fucking chance.
If he was going to be in a Dark World, he would have a character portrait.
Yeah, Noelle's mom, Carol. I don't think. I still don't think she's gonna show up. Yeah, I don't
think so either. I think we're gonna have a Light World battle with her instead.
But
I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in Chapter 5, Dark World.
After that, we have like Astral and Rudy, and then like Naps, the Blook, and Papyrus, and then they kind of less and less from there.
Of the lower ones, Sans is like the one that seems most likely to show up in the next Dark World.
Pizza Pants.
Yeah, again because of Cammy Boy G. Because of Cammy Boy G and the Icy theory.
Gerson.
I guarantee that's like entirely him. Gerson is a big notable one. Because that one was one of the lower ones. Right? Gerson was one of the lower ones, and that ended up being true.
Yeah.
And that does highlight, I would say, how much a Gerson Darkner / Dustner showing up, how popular of a theory that was. Right? That it was in fact a theory, right? We got a little under 471 people voted for that. So 19% of the people that took the survey thought Gerson would be there. So that was one of the big victories from a lesser popular theory that was still a theory that was still like being theorized about and stuff.
Some people thought Napstablook was going to show up, but not Undyne. I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Napstablook did just better than Papyrus. Damn.
One of the disappointing things regarding Toriel and Undyne both doing literally nothing was I was kind of looking forward to Toriel and Undyne getting a chance to actually interact with each other.
Yeah.
Because they don't interact at all in Undertale. Like, not once do they ever interact with each other. So I was kind of expecting them to be there because that's different.
The lowest one we get to before going into text responses is QC, and she's weird. She's like even mentioned in like the Goner Maker list, and as we all know, that Goner Maker theory is the only thing that means anything here. So you can like cut out a lot of these here. My Goner Maker theory list. I made that shit before everyone else thought about it with chapter 3 and 4. It's a list for like who will interact with the Dark World, and but Chris, Susie, and Noelle, nobody talks about that part and how they are wonderful. They are wonderful because they are gonna make fountains, besides the Knight. But the Knight is not really a Lightner of some kind, as it seems like. And I think this list kind of points towards that in some way. This list only contains like Lightners, no Darkners or something like that. I don't see people bringing up the idea that Gaster calling those three wonderful is referring to them as like fountain makers. I don't know what else that could be. Like the Prophecy, they're not the three heroes. They don't fit exactly with the roles.
Well, I mean, a lot of people will just be like, oh well, they're party members.
But Rousey, he's a party member.
But Rousey's a Darkner.
Yeah, but I feel like it makes. I feel like the fountain making part makes a little more sense because
I don't disagree. I mean, I don't disagree because Chris makes a fountain, Susie makes a fountain, and Noelle is definitely going to make a fountain.
Yeah.
Right? We have that both from the fact that Chris and Susie have already made fountains, the Gonna Maker intro that you're arguing for, and then also Queen's hologram thing, specifically highlighting Chris, Susie, and Noelle, and how she's actively trying to make Noelle to make a fountain and stuff.
Nobody talked about that.
And Noelle just seems extremely likely to make the Chapter 7 fountain, so yeah.
No ASGORE, by the way. ASGORE's not making shit. Fuck that goat. I love goats. He's my goat, but no.
It's going to look so bad if ASGORE does make the Chapter 5 fountain for you.
Oh, no. I want people to cut this. Cut this if it turns out to be wrong and laugh at it, because then, I don't know. Yeah, clip it. Yeah, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing right now. Do it. Now we're kind of done with like Dark World locations, mostly. But now we're going to talk about like the chapters themselves, How many chapters are there going to be? Is it really 7, He's been kind of vague. And one of these theories is there will be 10 chapters. So in the game files, there were like animations all the way up from like 1 to 10. They are just in the game files, which is weird. So it was theorized that maybe there are actually 10 chapters and not 7. It doesn't seem like people like this one, and it kind of makes sense because this would not just be bad for Toby himself to make all this, but also us. We would have to wait more. Text responses kind of reflected that. I would cry because it means more content, but also this game is never coming out. I would be in anticipation of the full release in 2037. It would make the game take longer to come out.
I mean, that's not really the game coming out in chapters anyway. Like, does that matter?
I guess. I guess that's a fair point, actually. Yeah. I guess it's because people have been waiting just for like 2 chapters, so I guess it just feels like a long time for some. Yeah. Some other text responses, like in terms of like criticism, it was like 7 is an important number to Toby. Too much game. Some people said it was just like placeholder, like spaghetti code, like this is the spaghetti code guy. Toby doesn't have like the best coding, and you know.
Yeah, he just accidentally made 10 chapter animations. I don't think he.
Yeah, these are just placeholders. These are just unused. I don't think these are.
I mean, isn't the chapter 4 one completely unique and different?
Oh yeah. But that's with the new chapter.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of highlights the idea that these were just placeholders and stuff.
Yeah.
That were automated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This theory is just completely fucked dead forever.
The chapter 10 series also like really bad now, specifically in regards to how Gaster at the end of chapter 4 specifically says we have gone through the halfway mark. Yeah.
Unless he fucking lied. No. Unless the chapters are really fucking short, and if you look at the runtime of the game, it's in chapter 4. Okay. There will be 5 chapters.
Well, this was true for Lord of the Hammer.
Oh yeah, this one's weird. This one's nobody liked it. You know. Actually, Gerson talks about not being able to finish his books. You know, so there were like less than 7 chapters. So you could like imagine some crack stuff here, like the game ends earlier and we're supposed to make the ending. I've heard that be brought up as like a crack theory.
Yeah, I think this theory is somehow less crack now.
Yeah,
than it was before, despite the fact that we've already gotten confirmation that Toby is actively working on chapter 6.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, okay, I did kind of like you brought this idea up, like that for chapters 6 and 7, the game is continuing, but it's instead just gonna branch out and just go full meta. So it kind of makes sense that there is like a border from like chapter 5 to 6, you know, the same place that Gerson stopped writing. And I don't know, I do have this one idea I kind of got from some fan content, time loop theory, except it doesn't loop at the end, and that's like the ending he dreamt up, but instead like loops somewhere like with chapter 5 or 6, and the rest of the game is like the aftermath of this time loop, and like or something like that. I don't know if the time loop makes sense in this context. I think the meta, just going full meta from chapters 6 through 7 makes more sense.
I think doesn't Gerson say that there was supposed to be one more chapter, but then he never wrote it? So logically it means that the game should end in chapter 6?
He was writing 6, there was going to be a 7th one, but he didn't finish 6, I think, or something like that. I don't know.
Right. He was in the middle of writing chapter 6, then he died, and then Alvin wouldn't finish it because he is not a writer. He refuses to write stories, which is very funny considering what Alvin Knight was entirely based on, the idea of him writing stories.
I mean I remember the idea of like he didn't feel like he was good enough, like his father. He was like, I can show that I'm just like you, father. Daddy.
He didn't even try though.
He should though. Writing is fun. Next theory is there will be a chapter 8 in the game, and this one did a little bit better, much better.
Yes, this one's much more reasonable.
Not well liked, but kind of in the middle. But you know, this one was believed a bit more.
This one was reasonable. It's a lot more reasonable to be like, oh, there's like a secret 8 chapter after you beat chapter 7, than saying there's actually 10 chapters. There's 3 more chapters than the one Toby promised us, right? There's one more chapter after one. That makes a lot more sense. That's a lot more believable.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's more appealing to people than like
it's especially believable for me because Live Alive does this. There's like there's an extra chapter that unlocks after you beat all the other ones, and stuff. And then there's another chapter after that one. So maybe we'll get 9 chapters. Because that's what Live Alive did.
Just one.
But there won't be 10 chapters, but there will be 9 chapters. And 9's important because that's the Kara number. And it has to be Kara versus Gaster. Because that's what everybody knows. That's what Deltarune's going to be about. Chris will go full Kara, the killer mode.
Yeah.
Battle Gaster in the metaverse.
Yeah. I guess this one's kind of debunked or something. Something like that. I don't know. When people like take something from like interviews, I feel like some of it is like just vague and people can put whatever meaning they want into it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No.
No? Okay.
Anyway, this could still be true because the halfway point is reached at the end of chapter 4. Therefore, we could still have 8 chapters. Yeah, because 7's uneven. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't really know what much to write here because chapter 0 and 8 are very similar, and chapter 0 is the next one.
Chapter 0 also feels possible in the same vein as chapter 8.
This one was like a bit more, but still kind of divisive, a bit all over the place. This was also kind of seen as a chapter 8 for some.
Yeah, it kind of is. The only difference is this would be like a flashback chapter.
Yeah, that's how I thought of is as like an epilogue, just as like the past or whatever or something. That was just more in line with like time loop theory, but I'm not sure if that makes sense anymore. Yeah, I did like this one more than chapter 8, and that seemed to be the
consensus
too with for other people with like text responses. Though people did have some criticism, like talking about how the coding works and erase. Some people also mentioned it being a flashback too for chapter 0. It's probably not going to be a full.
Yeah, this is not necessarily off the table. This could still be correct.
The Dark World locations are the Undertale locations in reverse order. This is like the theory that Deltarune is like reverse Undertale. This is kind of a pattern theory.
It's basically the idea that Card Kingdom is like vaguely New Home if you kind of think about it, and then you can be like Cyber
It's
World,
like castles.
Yeah, and then it's like Cyber Cities of the core, and has like a Metaton, Neo, and stuff like that. And then TV World's like Hotland, and then the church is like Waterfall and has Gerson in it. So this one is like gotten a lot stronger after the chapters, honestly. The weird thing is though, then we get Flower King in 5, and that's kind of like way more like a New Home. And then the bunker, I would assume, would be most closest comparison would be like True Lab. And then whatever the chapter 7 is going to be, I doubt it's going to be like the ruins necessarily. I don't think this is necessarily correct as much as it's just kind of a bit of a coincidence that the first 4 chapters are similar to the first 4 areas somewhat.
Okay, I don't think it's
honestly, chapter 1 being like New Home is such a fucking stretch to with, in my opinion.
I think
like 3, 4, and 2, sure.
I think it's probably like not a set pattern that Toby has, but like he likes to fill it in. It's not like I have to do everything exactly like that. No.
Yeah, it feels much more like just Toby repeating ideas and reusing characters.
Yeah. The way it was used, like back in the chapter 2 days, it felt more Undertale 2-ish, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is another pattern theory. Like I said, it can end up feeling a little bit more formulaic. Some text responses. Once it happened. Twice, it's a coincidence. Thrice, it's a pattern. It kind of shows a problem with these pattern theories. Seems like it's stretched to me. This is just a weird pattern recognition at work. That happens with a lot of theories.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the ratings for this one was kind of in the middle. This is like, I guess that makes sense. I did see it often. Like, even like, it was kind of in similar lane to like chess theory to me. But I guess people like chess theory more, as we saw with the previous results on the first video.
This one was definitely more accurate than chess theory.
I would say so. Yeah, that's weird, actually. This one was more accurate. It's strange. We can move on to the last theory. Dark Clock. Okay, so while the clocks you can find around hometown are broken based on how they never change, some believe Toby is using these clocks, whatever time they broke at, the way the direction the clocks are pointing is actually foreshadowing future Dark World locations, and you have to look at where the clocks are pointing to know where. So these locations that we would end up with would be the Grand Fountain, the unused classroom, Dreamer House, and then for like locations that hadn't shown up yet, the closed store to the left of the Grand Fountain, and ASGORE's house. And ASGORE's shop being a Dark World is a popular theory, so it only adds to this and vice versa. Interacting with the door to the left of the Grand Fountain only says that it's closed, so it's ambiguous, and there might maybe be a Dark Fountain here already. Maybe not. And yeah, this one was kind of in the middle. And if you didn't know already, or maybe you guessed, this is a Jaru theory. I think this is one of the theories that did better. It's probably because it was like this is like a short theory.
Yeah.
Like one person said, who was a fan of Jaru. They said, "I'm not taking a filler video serious. I still love you, Jaru." That's funny.
Yeah, this was a very much like a weird Jaru filler video where you just do something together.
Mm-hmm. I think it's cute
weird
little theory. It's not, I don't know, it's not exactly true.
It's definitely not the type of
it's a silly idea.
Thing you should be trying to predict the game based on.
Scott Cotton asked, "I don't know, man, Toby Core. Toby is not doing this kind of shit." And I don't know, kind of wrong with the previous one with the reverse Undertale, but I don't know, this is like very minuscule. But also technically the locations that were listed, they've kind of all been right so far, except for like the door like to the left. Do you really think that's going to be a Dark World location? No, I don't think that's going to be a Dark World. Maybe it will be.
No. Fuck no.
I do, like I said, I do think this is kind of a cute theory. Like someone said, like, text response, "Not sure, but I'm glad someone is talking about the clocks." Just, I don't know, the idea of this theory is just silly enough that I find it funny. Brain rot. Just lazy texturing. Yeah, like the clocks don't mean anything. Another Dark World in the school seems a little excessive. Yeah, with the door right to the left. It's kind of a minuscule theory. It kind of makes sense why it's in the middle. It doesn't really matter that much. To the final words. What people said here for final words, people kind of said these were less theory-like and more speculative. More guesses than theories. Mostly speculative. I don't really care where the Dark Worlds are. It's kind of up in the air whatever could have happened back then. Yeah, it does seem like people had fun with these theories and coming up with them. One person in particular said that most of these are creative. But you said earlier, Chestnut, these were more interesting to talk about back then because, now we're just talking about random locations that kind of didn't happen, right?
Yeah. I would say the few that were like discussed, the potential ideas. There's at least a few we're talking about. The problem was there was just not that many, and most of them were just kind of right. It's like Church was just overwhelmingly popular and was correct. Flower King was substantially popular and seems to be correct. Hospital was its only real meaningful runner-up. That seems like it's wrong, but maybe will still come back in some capacity in Chapter 7.
Yeah.
Right? At least some of the ideas regarding it, right? Bunker was, of course, overwhelmingly popular, and that would be insane for it not to be. And then Chapter 7 has to be some kind of, like, festival or outside in hometown or like the Roaring or at least Player Town or something like that. So yeah.
Most of these theories were kind of fairly simple, really.
Oh yeah, this is one of those things that was like an important point of discussion in the old Chapter 2 days. Obviously. But nowadays it kind of feels like everybody's for the most part locked in. I think there's a bit of debate regarding 6 and 7, but like everybody's like, yeah, it's gonna be Flowershop for Chapter 5. So and most people are just kind of focused on Chapter 5 for right now. So yeah,
because it's coming out very soon. That's good.
There's not a lot of like different opinions regarding this nowadays.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
And that was it for those theories, just within that topic. Before anything else, I want to say that Chestnut just came out with a new video he's been working on for months now. It's about everything surrounding Chris and Dessa's relationship. I don't feel I see enough people talk about that part of the game, so please check out the video. It's great. So, if you're interested in seeing more from the survey, then check out the videos from specific categories already out within the playlist, or subscribe for more of these. Or you can subscribe for our personalities. I guess that's possible too. Who wouldn't want more of this goat? I already have enough of him. Well, that's it for me. Check out my Patreon, my Ko-Fi, my other art like music, or Chestnut's channel. He also makes videos. Okay, see you later. Bye bye.